never had nobody. You can't with me. You can't come close. You can't mess with me. I am so dirty. I'm nursing home nasty for no damn reason. Hello? I'm gonna be. What's this? Here. But, hello? It is too hot. I sent texts. The power should get cut on pretty soon. What is up? What's up? What's up? Now, I'm not serious about that. That's a joke. I was just going to make a rap song. I'm not really nursing home nasty. And that might be offensive to some people. I don't know if I should even use that line. But it did rhyme with the other thing I said that I don't remember. This little dog, I'm going to get it for a second. This little dog stole 20 of my socks and couldn't figure out where my dirty socks were going. And he piled them all up in a pile over there. Brittany was like, why is the dog smelling like your feet? I'm like, I don't know why the dog's smelling like my feet. You should do funny videos. But I'm not that funny. I'm only funny accidentally. Sometimes Brittany's laughing, other people are laughing, but it's mostly accidentally. I'm not like funny under pressure, you know? I'm only accidentally funny. Like sometimes I'm joking, but it's just not funny. And then sometimes I'm dead ass serious and people are laughing. So, I don't know. It might help. It might help when I get, see, first I just got off work and I was hot and ill. And that kind of hurts being funny. But I'm about to start being in a better mood. Well, you remembering from the chicken, when the chicken was hatching out in the incubator, and I was pretending like the chicken was talking? No. Like reuse sounds? We were Egyptians and shit. I thought we were Egyptians and shit was funny. Brittany did. I don't think Brittany thought it was funny. It didn't get, I thought it would go further than what it did. But when I watch the video, it makes me laugh. I made that video to make me laugh. And it works. When I watch that, I laugh. I can't finish the video without laughing. But hey, they might have been hot. Took their shirt off, stuck it on their head, and they start making a hat based on that design. I don't know. I tell you though, to me personally, well, first of all, you know, Egypt was over thousands and thousands of years with who ruled it changing hands over time. You know, the Persians had it, the Babylonians had it, the Assyrians had it. The Levantine people had it. The Mitanni people had it. Nubians had it. A lot of, but like if you're talking about pharaohs during the time of Ramses, to me, his nose looks Roman. It does. And I'm not saying that the Egyptians were Roman. I'm not saying that at all. But look, like you think about it, you've got the Koreans called the Chosen or something. Sounds similar to that, right? There's also African people called the Khoisan. It sounds very similar. And they look Asian, like in their eyes, but they're black. And some people were showing that some of them look Egyptian. I mean, Egypt was a multicultural civilization that run along the Nile and was on the Mediterranean and did a lot of trade with North Africa was a way different place before the Arabs. And, even before the Arabs took North Africa, the Germanic peoples had started to colonize North Africa. And the Phoenicians and Greeks had. You look so tired in that video. which video? I probably was. I work hard, y'all. I don't get paid enough for it either, but I work hard. And then when I get done working in the sun and everything, I go do some more work on my little farm over there. Or, you know, I worked hard last night entertaining Brittany. I was dancing to 2 or 3 different songs, and I got pretty tired. I was really getting it. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Normally, what happens when a civilization becomes very rich and powerful, everybody wants to go there. Like you can find people in India, in London, and if you go, and I think that's how Egypt was. So once Egypt, like in the Bible story, where Jacob and his sons, they don't have grain, so they go to Egypt. Egypt's going to have grain. And so I just think when Egypt got super powerful and super rich, people from all over the world went there, and they started all mixing together and making a whole different race and everything. But when the Assyrians come in and took Egypt, I think the Egyptians got scattered. I do think that the what do they call them? The Coptics are Egyptian. But then, there's a lot of people already in Egypt at that time of the Assyrian scattering. And sometimes I wonder if some of them might have wound up in Africa and some of them in Asia and some of them in Europe. Like these legends might be true that people dismiss. Like the Scotia of Scotland claimed to be related to some type of Egyptian princess. And, in Greece you have Thebes. And in Egypt, you have Thebes. And there's a few other cities that have, you've got the name in Greece and the name in Egypt. And then there was a long time period where the Mitanni over there about where the Syrians are, I might be saying their name wrong or mixing it up, but I think it's the Mitanni. They had chariots and everything. They were intermarrying with the Egyptians all the time for a long period of time there. And a lot of these pharaohs have a lot of Levantine DNA. But they're, it's like saying, and then there was certain dynasties in Egypt that traced through the mother's line, not the father. And there was a time when there actually was 2 co-pharaohs of Egypt, and one of them was white and one of them was black. They had, but anyway, I'm going to go back to what I was saying. When a nation becomes powerful, everybody starts to go there. And eventually it loses its cultural what's that word? Hegemony. There's not a unified culture anymore. And it fractures and it breaks up when it goes into decline and degeneracy. But, and it's like that throughout all of history. So there was a time where if you were rich and you were able, you were going to get out of the hellhole. So you were going to go to Babylon, or you was going to go to Egypt, or you was going to go to Persia, or you was going to go to Rome, or you was going to go to England, or you was going to go to America, or you was going to go to where, it's humans have always moved around, and humans have always wanted to go where the money's at. And that's changed. Like when the Bronze Age civilization was going on, you needed tin to mix with the copper. The copper was all over the place, but the tin was hard to get. And a tin mine got exhausted to where they now had to go all the way to, I forget if it was Afghanistan or Pakistan. They had to go all the way over there, or they had to go to Great Britain. They had to go to Britain for tin. And that just changed everything. That changed who was rich, who was poor. It changed everything. And like right now, we're running out of phosphorus for fertilizer. And Morocco has a whole bunch of it. In the future, that will change everything. Thank you for subscribing. But people will argue a lot over who was the Egyptians. But it really, you got to know the date, because it really changed over time a lot. Just like it does on every spot of the planet. And the crown doesn't go and pass through all generations, because it eventually softens your bloodline. The advantage of it does. Nations start off with a lot of vigor when they got that hunger in them. Like the Mongolians, hungry. They're so hungry that they're eating like rat meat and onions. And that's a good meal. And you look over and China's got all them bulls, all that beef, all that rice, all that food. Got so much open area we can feed your horses. And they're hungry. And at that time, the Chinese are complacent. They're full. And this happens through history. It keeps repeating itself. But I do think though that if like they say that every single white person on the face of the planet is a descendant of Charlemagne, because Charlemagne had so many children. They were if there was ever really hard economic times, his bloodline did all right. The firstborns are kings, but the secondborns, they marry lower nobility, and the lower nobility marry people that are not even the gentry, and they marry the peasants, and so eventually that gene flow goes throughout the whole population. When you're a king, you can kind of monopolize on that. And so there was a few people that were extremely proud that they were descendants of Charlemagne, but they hadn't figured out yet that by this point everybody in Europe is. Not everybody in Europe right now, but white European people. And if you've got 2 parents, you've got 4 grandparents, and then, you keep going up and up and up. You have so many ancestors that eventually you're going to catch one. And when people argue about, well, who were the Egyptians, or who were the descendants of Judah, or when you go that far back, you might as well say everyone is. Because that's just how it works. Just from people marrying their neighbors, and people move around. But when you go thousands and thousands and thousands of years back, when you go thousands of years into the future, eventually everybody's going to be your ancestor. Everybody's going to, because I ought to make like a charts and do a video on it and show, but it's pretty much meaningless at this point to say, who are the real Jews? But you're talking about 5,000, 6,000, 5,000, 4,000 years ago? At this point, everybody. Who was the Egyptians? Probably the Koreans in the Khoisan. And everybody all in between and all around Egypt. But I really don't believe this story that everyone looks sub-Saharan African, and then these people just sort of evolved into white people out of the sub-Saharan Africans, and that the sub-Saharan Africans did everything, achieved everything, and then white people just stole it from them. I don't believe that. And I don't believe that sub-Saharan Africans are the diaspora of Egypt. I really don't. I don't believe that. I also don't believe that they're Indians, Native Americans. I don't believe that they're Vikings. I don't believe that they were Italians. I don't believe that they were Moors. I just believe that the sub-Saharan Africans are sub-Saharan Africans. And there's something this is something to study with psychology or something. There's something to where they claim other people that are not them, and they rewrite history. And once they come out with AI and they can show an AI picture, a lot of them are just like, it's crazy how much AI images is being shared as evidence. Yeah. That's the thing that, in a way, that none of the Indians were really, it's not like a complete genocide. Really a lot of what happened was their women wanted white men. Because you look at it, women are hypergamous. And so the Native American women, they're looking at their men, and they're living in a hut or a teepee or something like that. And then they look over at the white man, and he's built a proper house with sawmill lumber, and has cows and horses and grain. And, and it's just, he's got hammers and nails and ships and wealth. And it's like, dang, do I want my children to grow up there or here in this constant revenge feud, tribal warfare back and forth? And so almost everybody in America has a little bit of Native American in them because, somebody in your family is going to be, got one of their women. There's not a lot of the Y chromosomal DNA of Native Americans throughout the European population, but there sure is with the mitochondrial DNA. And it's the same story for me too. My mama's daddy, his mama was Native American. It's not through the father that it comes, not with anyone I know. And the same thing on my dad's side of the family. It's through the matriarchal line that the Native American is in there. And they don't really talk about it like that, but there was a lot of like voluntary willingness of this. This is another thing, not all Native Americans resisted and fought and kept fighting. A lot of them joined. A lot of them become Americans. A lot of them become citizens. A lot of them intermarried. A lot of them converted to Christianity. A lot of them, assimilated. And I mean, still, if you go to Cherokee County, Georgia right now, there's a lot of Cherokees in Cherokee County. They're just U.S. citizens. They just joined. They didn't get carried off in the Trail of Tears. They're still there. But they become Americans. My great-grandpa was half Cherokee. He was, how's he? Okay, let me read this. My great-grandpa was half. He was in the war, and his friend died. And my granddaddy, my great-granddaddy, whose mama was a Native American, he was in the Korean War. But he quit. Well, he didn't. My great granddaddy, he didn't quit the army, but he kind of drunk himself to death. War. What is it good for? Well, pretty much, it's like the absolute escalation of argument and disagreement. War is what settles settles it. All of history is the accomplishments of violence. What's scary? It's really a terrible thing, ain't it? That we kill each other and everything. But imagine, that's why we are what we are. That's how we're the apex predator, because we challenge our own selves. You're at war with this other nation, and so you have to be able to organize better than the other nation. You have to be more efficient. You have to make use of resources better. You have to take and decide what territory is best to hold or give up. You have to know when to give up territory. Here's another thing. You have to know when to retreat. You have to know when to say, okay, I don't want to have the cost of transporting new soldiers to this front, so I don't want these soldiers to die. I don't want to have to, I don't want these soldiers dying. They're expensive. These lives. How do I move these people? Like when to give up territory to save lives of your soldiers, to take territory later. And some people can't do this because of pride. Like it's time to retreat, but they feel like they're actually afraid to not retreat when they should. I'm not talking about like to retreat all the time. I'm just saying, there's a lot that goes into war, and you gotta be, and you're not fighting a deer. You're not fighting a monkey. You're fighting a human being. Now there's a challenge. There's a very, very, very great challenge. And there's a very, very, very big stress on survival. So how are you going to survive this horrible war? You're going to have to be smart. You're going to have to be courageous. You're going to have a lot of endurance. And so war, it's kind of an ugly truth that we don't like to see. It's kind of what's made us the great beings that we are. War made us have to be smarter. War made us have to be more social and get along. It's and I'm not praising war at all. Like, I guess I am a little bit. But we hate that side of us, don't we? It depends. We like the good guy heroes that are also doing violence against the bad guys. But we want to end this war. We want to stop fighting each other. Well, if we're going to stop fighting each other, how are we going to decide our disputes? Like, Are we just going to go to argument to a certain point, raise our voices, but never fight? Are we going to just, like, what do you do? Because there's going to be disagreements. And how do you decide this without it coming to a fight? And so if we say we want to end war and we want to have peace, but what does that look like? Let's say I come home, right? And it's time for me to talk to Brittany, and I'm going to tell her a story. I'm going to tell her a story where no problems happen, no pains happen. There was no opposition. It's like every single day is going to be, well, everything was good. There was no struggle. There was no no one opposed anything I was doing. Everybody just got along. There'd be no drama. There'd be no story. There'd be nothing to tell. And so it's kind of like, I don't know, it's just something we don't like, but it's a good, even though we call it a bad, it's good that we have the pain and the problems and the enemies and the war and all the other stuff. It's what creates the drama. It's what gives you the medium to be able to be virtuous, because you're able to develop courage, or you're able to love and sacrifice yourself for someone else. You could not be that moral without that. Let's say, without the world with the evil in it, it doesn't allow you to develop the good, to develop the divine. Because let's say that I have to give my life to protect other people, or I have to take on pain or endure pain or hunger, for my people or whatever. It allows you to develop love and courage in a way that you couldn't if everything was just easy. And when I was younger, in my teenage years, I kind of wanted to pray that my life would be easy, but I don't think that way no more. You don't really want things to be easy, because then you atrophy. And so I don't really I don't really want us to be murderous and just go kill each other for no reason and be so quick to not regard human life as sacred. I don't want us to just be like hating each other and killing each other when we could get along. But I also think, I ain't worried about no aliens, because if they get here, they're probably going to be scared of us because we fight and kill each other. And we'll definitely kill them. And I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all, if aliens get here and any of y'all have any kind of plans to make peace with them, it's just not going to happen. It's just not. I refuse to be at peace with aliens, and I'm going to fuck it up for us. Like, if they're going to come and they're going to talk and we're all going to get along and whatever, I'm going to shoot them. I want the war with the aliens. We need to take their craft. We need to fly to their planet. We need to enslave them, and we can get away with it. We can dehumanize the aliens very easily. They're not humans. They don't have human rights. They're aliens. They're space animals. They're just space animals. And just, because if somebody's going to rule the galaxy, it needs to be humans. Just because it'll be a lot better for us. And I don't know, if something's wrong with me. I'm a little bit heartless or something. I have no empathy for aliens at all. I'm kind of disgusted that they even landed on my planet in the first place. Like, what germs do they have? So there will be war with the aliens. And our war nature will come in handy. It will have all been for a purpose. While they were being all nice to each other and making fancy spaceships, we was learning how to be very good at killing. And then when they got over here, we reverse engineered their spaceships and went and conquered them and made them do our bidding and then build us spaceships and shit. And so then, so don't get no funny ideas of like being at peace with the aliens. Just go ahead and get ready to go to war with them. Because if they come here, I'm assuming it's automatically a declaration of war. Because I'm just going to kind of look at like what happened with the Native Americans. I'm just not going to trust them no matter what. When they're like, we come in peace, I'm like, you're biding time. You're biding time. I'm going to use the element of surprise and go ahead and attack you. We come in peace, we'll give you all this free shit. Attack them right away. Attack them aliens. I don't trust aliens. I don't even know that I believe in them, even though I did see a spaceship. I don't like to tell people because they think I'm crazy, but I was going to pick, which is probably military. I really think it's a U.S. military craft. I do not think it was an alien, even though it was creepy to see it and scary because I didn't know what it was. But it looked like a flying saucer. And it's like when you go into Lawrence County, like some kind of back way, like somewhere outside of Dublin somewhere. Anyway, I was picking up my brother Luke from his girlfriend's house, and it looked like a fucking UFO. But I'm pretty sure it's like the Air Force. I don't think it's extraterrestrial. I think it's the Air Force. And it was just kind of like, I don't know. It was just kind of like I don't even know that it was moving or traveling at all. But I could just see it as I passed on the road and it was just there and I didn't like it. But I think it's just, sometimes if it's real cloudy, the United States government, that's when they like to fly over that stuff so people don't kind of see it. I don't know. I don't know what it was. But think about how much planets there are out there. I know. Wouldn't it be great if they were all ours? And that's the thing. That's why, like, I believe, and I might catch some hate here, but I believe the Earth is like a sphere. I think it is. Oh damn! I think it's a sphere, and so, I think the Earth's a sphere. I think that's why stars look different at one side than the other. And why was I saying that? There's a point I was making about that. Oh, but they have this flat Earth theory where they say that Antarctica is an ice ring and there's continents beyond it. And I don't believe that, but I want to believe that. And I was asking myself, why do I want to believe this? I know this isn't rational, but I just want to believe that they're trying to keep us from other continents out there. And it's because of the desire to explore. And now it's all been explored. I mean, not all, but basically. And you can't just go and be like, well, I really hate the way things are here. I'm just going to go make my own country over here because all the land is occupied, all the land is claimed. And so that's why I like back in the day, humans were always expanding and always able to expand. And now we can only expand into each other. So we need to just go conquer the aliens and shit and take their planets. I mean, it's just kind of kicking the problem down the road, Eventually, if we fill up all of space, then what do we do? But I don't know. And they say in the Bible, they say that God is the Lord of hosts. That means the captain of all the armies, the chief of all the armies. And that there's beings of heavenly bodies, that we're made out of the earth. But heavenly bodies to them, that's what they call planets. So when Paul's talking, he said in the Bible, he's saying that there are angels that can look like humans, but they're made out of the heavenly bodies, just like how we're made out of the dirt of earth. They're made out of some other planet. And I do kind of think that maybe there is. Maybe. I don't know. But I think a lot of these people that people think are like reptilians or aliens in disguise, I think they're just MK Ultra victims. And they're just sort of skitzing out between personalities sometimes. And they glitch up and shit. But think about how much planets there are out there. Like, I can't even conceive of how many. There's so many out there. But, like, if there's a chance that there's a conquering species out there coming for us. So we got to get them before they get us. But I think they're going to fake. I do think that there is a plan. Like Ronald Reagan was talking at the United Nations about how he thought about how we'd put a lot of our differences aside if there was an alien attack. And then they made the movie Independence Day where that kind of happens. And so I think that if the United Nations wants to ever really have any teeth and authority and ever get off the ground, they need a common world threat. And that they probably will fake an alien invasion that isn't real. And that's why there's so many alien movies and stuff put out there and everything to get people ready for that psyop. At the same time, though, I'm open to the idea that there actually are aliens out there. And I'm not convinced that I want to be their friend. And maybe I should. Maybe that's the right path, Just trade with them. But how could you trust them? Like, if I bought a candy bar from an alien, I would be like, there's probably a microchip in this. There's probably a virus in this. I couldn't trust them. Even if they were trustworthy, because it's like, you left your planet and you're on my planet. What do you want? It could just be absolute projection, but I would just be like, I kind of like the idea, because he's like winning, I'm not saying it's good. Like, you can write me off as an evil man because I want to conquer the aliens, but But I like to win. We do need to probably, seriously though, we probably do need to develop into doing away with war, really. Because you wind up getting a piece of land but killing people in the process, and then you don't have the labor for it. It's just not worth it. It's a special type of madness. But it may be necessary. It may be a necessary type of madness. I'm probably going to go outside and get some wind. It's too stuffy. I got some funny videos of Brittany, but she don't really ever want that posted, so I don't. But Brittany is funny now. She got me falling on the floor laughing. I'm going to go outside because it's hot. Now, the light, I don't know when the lights cut off, but the air conditioner was on in my room, so maybe it is kind of cold in there. If not, I'm going outside because I just can't. No, it's hot in there too. We're going outside. You can't come a little bit. Duke might eat you. I don't think he would. Brittany does, though. I ain't gonna chance it. It's not gonna happen on my watch and be something I gotta apologize for. So we're gonna keep a little bit in the house. Hey, Duke. You want something to eat? Kind of look like she can say yes a little bit. Oh. I think that if she tried to eat his food, he would. But I don't think, like, Brittany's scared that Duke's going to hurt Dolly. And I'm not Dolly, I mean a little bit. So I'm not going to risk it. But I don't think he would. Because he didn't even hurt the quail. Which I think he would. I do think he'd eat a quail. Let me turn this around. Turn around, man. Come on, touch the screen. Let me see those food. See, Duke has got some size on a little bit. A lot of size difference. Come here, Doc. Duke. All right, a little bit. See the size difference? There's a size difference here. See? I just don't think he would. I really don't think Duke would hurt her. He would maybe, like him, I mean. If he ever bought her if she tried to get his food. But I don't think he would hurt her. Duke's a really friendly dog. I hope there ain't no snakes out here. If they was, I'm gonna get them. There's be a certain amount of violence. Like if you gotta kill animals to get meat. So you can't completely divorce yourself from it. Like I love the life and you have to nurture and tend to the life, but there's also a time to kill. There's a butterfly over here. Let's see if I can zoom in without scaring him away. Hummingbirds come to these bushes too. That's the main reason. Used to be. There's so many grapevines. And the grapevines used to not make any grapes hardly because they didn't really get sunlight. They're all tangled up and choked out by other types of vines. I'm thinking maybe when I walk forward, it'll flush some birds out. They might fly up. Okay. Oh, it's too. I ain't got any shoes on. There's just too many thorns this way. I'm going to have to come back this way. These have grown. These are spread out a lot more than I thought they had. I need to dig some of these up and bring them over there. I used to always like them because the hummingbirds in the morning time would drink out of these flowers. But Luke didn't like them because he just didn't like, I guess, how they kind of take over. That century plant, I found it in the road. I was riding with Luke, and it fell, and it was all scrubbed up on one side. It just spilled out of a pot. It was laying in the road, and I don't know who dropped it and where they were going or what. But I planted it there because every time I watered my garden, a little bit of water leaked and would spray out in that direction and roll down the hill. So I was like, well, if I forget to take care of it, it'll at least get watered every time I water everything else. And Luke was saying he was going to plant it, but never did. And I dug a hole, and it's kind of shallow. And it rooted. And the century plant grew pretty well. Hey, Duke. Or it is scary for real. Because it's so dangerous. It's very scary. And that's why it gives you the greatest opportunity to develop courage, because it's extremely terrifying and scary because it's extremely dangerous. Well, it's hot outside and it's hot in here. See, they busy at the restaurant. They probably haven't gotten my messages yet. I'm gonna have to do something. I'm gonna have to go somewhere to an air conditioner or go. The problem is I got the cash in my pocket. So I'm probably gonna just drive up there and pay it. Cause see, I don't like to pull the money out of the Cash App savings account, because if it's in the savings account, it generates interest. So I like to keep it in there. And do the power with my cash. And I'm about to do that. Because it's just too hot. It's too hot to be outside or inside without no air conditioner. So I'm going to town to pay the power bill. That's what I'm going to do. I was hoping it would have. I hope they would have seen my message by now. But it didn't. I wish it's too hot. I need that. I'll go ahead, full disclosure. I've never been in war. I've heard stories from people who have. So I'm not claiming to be an expert on it. It's so hot that once you take off your shirt, you just can't put it back on. You can't physically make yourself put it back on. Why in the heck would I do that? Jesus help me. Cannot do it. I get it. Well, that needs to be back in the shipping room for sure. I gotta find me a different shirt. I hate polyester. Well, the work shirts are polyester though. Well, they had me some cotton. I wish some wool. This is too, ain't it? I'm gonna have to have one if I'm gonna go in the restaurant. I need to end this because I just ain't doing nothing.